Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're gonna have slightly different content than normal, but I wanted to go ahead and talk about Rush Duels for a little bit. So just a kind of to preface this whole thing, Nerd Factor posted a video a few days ago saying that he was going to host a Rush Duel tournament, and I figured, like, what the heck, why not? Let's go and try it. Rush Duels is awesome. I'm not gonna lie, this is so much freaking fun. So shout out to all the people that have been giving this like a ton of freaking hate, but like honestly, like I'm having a lot. Like the best way I can describe this is sped up GOAT format, at least for right now. Drawing until you have 5 cards in your hand, unlimited normal summons. It's really cool. But I figured, like, we'll go ahead and go into our deck profile for the tournament tomorrow, and then I'll keep you guys updated on how we do. There is a prize pool. I think we just reached over 100 players in the tournament. I think 8 rounds of Swiss, and then cutting the top 16, and then I think top 3 or 4 get prizing. So let's just go ahead and get into the deck profile. So, starting off with, like, everybody's favorite, the legend card himself, Blue Eyes White Dragon. This card's awesome, huge beat stick, 3k attack. I mean, nothing's changed. You'll see the fact that there's a 1 here in the corner. That's just because this is a legend card. You can only have 1 legend card in your deck. Next, we're playing 3 Dark Sorcerer. This is the biggest Spellcaster normal summon that you can have at 1500 attack. And then we're also playing the biggest booty normal summon that you can have. That's under level 6, I guess I should say. Under level 5, being Stray Familiar. So we're playing 3 of each. Moving on to our boss monsters of the deck. We're playing 2 Fiendish Commander Yami Roller. This acts as kind of a floodgate, where your opponent cannot tribute summon monsters that are level 7 or higher while this card is face up. You can tribute set under this. So there is a way to get around it, but it really stuns your opponent whenever you're able to get this out, especially on turn 1. So there's 2 Yama Roller, 2 Rush Dragon Dragears. This is a card that's phenomenal for ripping apart your opponent's board. So you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, and if this card destroys a monster by battle, it can make a second attack during the battle phase, which is freaking awesome. So again, this card is fantastic for cleaning up boards. And the card that can beat down any card is 7-Sword Magician. This card is by far the highest attack monster in the game right now. You can easily get this thing up to 3900 attack with its effect. Again, sending the top card of your deck to the graveyard, and it gains 300 attack for each different attribute in your graveyard until the end of the turn. You can easily get this thing up to 3900 attack. It's insane. So this beats over your Blue Eyes, this beats over your Dragears. The one downside with this is, again, it goes back down to 21 after the end of your turn. So it gets beaten over by a lot of things, especially Dragears. So there's your downside, but it does beat over anything. Beats over any problem card. Moving on to our last tribute summon. We're playing 3 Windcaster Torna. In my eyes, this is by far the best level, like 5 or 6 you could play in your deck. This is a 1 card out to Magician and Dragears, because it can change these to defense, and they only have 1500 defense each. So Torna is an out to your opponent's boss monsters right now, and I think that's pretty huge. Also, there's some spice with this and Yama Roller too. We'll talk about that later. Moving on to our other normal summons, kind of like our Dark Sorcerer and Stray Familiar. We're playing 2 Fire Golem, mainly playing this for its attribute being fire, just so we can power up our 7th Magician. But it kind of has an effect. It doesn't really come up too much, but you can pay 600 life points and you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and it loses 600 defense. Again, doesn't really come up that much. You're just using it for tribute fodder. But yeah, again, playing it because it's a different attribute. Moving on, we're playing 3 Mystic Dealer. Its effect, I guess, what it can... I guess it's most similar to Danger Mothman's discard effect, where you discard a Spellcaster and draw a card, except Mothbane's backwards, you draw a card and then discard a card. Or I guess like even like Dark World Dealings. But again, it doesn't apply to your opponent, it just applies to you. Again, these are not once per turn at all. So if you were to get 3 Mystic Dealers out, technically you could pitch 3 and draw 3 during the turn. Moving on, we're playing Whispering Fairy at 3. We'll talk about the spice with Whispering Fairy and why it's good and why I think people should be playing this more. Basically you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard to select 2 monsters in your opponent's graveyard and shuffle them into the deck. This turns off your opponent's traps and can ruin their combo pieces, which we'll talk about later. Also, for the last couple monsters we're playing 2 Defensive Dragon Mage. This is a card that both Spellcasters and Dragons play, but you can send a monster from your hand to the graveyard to choose a monster you control, and it can't be destroyed by an opponent's card effect until the end of this turn. So you can freely go into your opponent's back row without having to worry about them getting destroyed because of this card. It's fantastic to pair along with Dragears. So yeah, it's great. Moving on to our spells, we're playing 1 Recovery Force. You shuffle 3 monsters, Spellcaster specific, from your graveyard into the deck, and you draw a card. I think the best comparison to this would be like Pot of Avarice. But this card isn't too insane because you do want graveyard setup. And plus I was bricking on this a lot whenever I was playing 2 or 3, and I'd just be like blind setting back row as bluffs. Which I'd rather kind of be setting other things instead. So we are only playing 1 Recovery Force. Next, for spell and trap removal, we are playing 2 Hammer Crush. So it's the most generic spell and trap removal in the game, where you just discard a card from your hand to destroy a spell or trap your opponent controls. So it does help with the discard so that you can draw 5 for next turn. So Hammer Crush is really nice. Next spell we're playing is Wind Spirit's Blessing. This is a card that goes along with Windcaster Torna. You can send a card from your hand to the graveyard, and a spellcaster you control gains 1000 attack. So Torna plus Wind Spirit's Blessing can get you over a Yama Roller, and not many decks can do that. This card paired with even Dark Sorcerer can beat over a Seven's Road Magician, or the possibilities are endless, really, with gaining the extra 1000 attack. You can beat over a lot of things you weren't able to beat over before. Moving on to our last bit of spell and trap destruction, we are playing 3 Magical Stream. If you control a face-up spellcaster, you can destroy a spell or trap your opponent controls. This is really easy to play, really easy to meet the condition. I think dragons have a spell that does the same exact thing, like literally the same exact thing. You just have to control a face-up dragon instead. So we're playing 3 Magical Stream. Getting onto our traps, the most overpowered trap in the game right now is basically a Mirror Force that recycles your spellcasters. So when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can shuffle 4 spellcasters from your graveyard into the deck and destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. If you don't play around this card, you will lose. You will lose, or if you don't destroy it. Legit, you will lose. But let's backtrack a little bit with the spice. So Whispering Fairy can turn this card off. So if your opponent has, let's just say, 4 spellcasters in grave, you can Whispering Fairy 2 of their monsters into their grave if you suspect that they have a Dark Liberation set. You can shuffle 2 of their spellcasters away to turn this off, and it can't be activated. Another situation, if you're going against Dragears, they play 2 cards like Upsetter and Setupper. These 2 cards special their counterparts from the grave. So something you can do too is, let's say they have a Setupper in grave. You can shuffle it away just in case they have an Upsetter in hand. Stuff like that. Or I think there's another card, I think it's Phoenix or something like that. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, Phoenix Dragon. So if you get rid of their level 5 or higher dragons on the field, you can shuffle those back into the deck so that he can't get it back with Phoenix Dragon too. So there's a lot of situations where Whispering Fairy works out very well. And then our last card that we're playing is Curtain of Sparks. When you have a Spellcaster in your grave, the attacking monster loses 500 attack until the end of the turn. So, I guess like a small interaction that this works really well with is keeping your 7th Road Magician alive against Dragears. Making your opponent's Dragears lose 500 attack and crashing into the 7th Road Magician. Or, if a Blue Eyes is attacking into a Dragears, you can make them crash into each other and they both die. So, anyways, I highly, highly, highly suggest at least checking this out. Rush Duels is live on Project Ignis EDO Pro. I think you have to get it from a Discord link, and I don't know if I can put it in the description below. But I would definitely check out Nerd Factor's channel. He has the link in one of his recent videos announcing the tournament, so you can download Project Ignis from that. So this platform's awesome. The amount of like customization you can do, and the fact that they put Rush Duels in here is huge. I really, really enjoy this. Again, I would really suggest at least giving this a try. Don't knock it till you try it. This is much better than speed duels. This is much better than speed duels. And even if you play it for like a little bit just to kind of understand, to put into perspective, the Sevens anime is scheduled for at least the next 2 years. Rush Duels is not leaving anytime soon. This is going to be a thing to stay. They've already released 2 of the starter decks and 1 set. So I'm curious to see how long this ends up lasting, or if this is going to be a continuing thing. But try it before it goes away if it ends up doing that. This is a fantastic alternate format. I will let you guys know how I do in the tournament. I'll probably get you guys some replays of the tournament gameplay, just to keep you guys a little updated. But yeah, if you have the chance, I would subscribe to Nerd Factor's channel. And if you want to subscribe to this channel too, I'll probably deliver a little bit of Rush Duel content. Like, I know it's a little niche, but this is something that I'm interested in. This is a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie. So, as always, take care, guys. Love you so much for the support.